PGA European Tour is brought to you by Volvo.
Hello and a very warm welcome from me, Warren Humphreys, to this, the 8th event on the PGA European Tour, the Dubai Desert Classic. Once again, the professionals continuing their early season globe-trotting. This time they've moved southeast across Africa to Dubai, just north of Abu Dhabi, and the Emirates Golf Course. This one of the finest venues on the European Tour schedule, and a galaxy of stars assembled here this week, chasing the £650,000 prize money. A man who got off to a blistering start yesterday, Miguel Angel Jimenez, here holding a monster across the 6th green on his way to an opening 63. He was hotly pursued by Jay Townsend from the United States, he having one of his best opening rounds of his career, a 64, and a good start there by Stephen Field, 6 under par, and Colin Montgomery starting his European Tour season a little bit slimmed down, but a good opening 67 for Colin. So all set for a fine day's play here on number 2, and this a quick look at how Jay Townsend started out in the 3rd round, continuing off where he finished yesterday through 12 holes, just improved by 1 shot to 9 under. Jimenez not out yet, and Robert Willis posted a fine 67 today. He moves to 8 under par, so excellent scoring here at the Emirates Golf Course. It's just over 7,000 yards, a par 72, 35 for the front 9, 37 for the back, and 72 players on 1 under par or better. So this week it's going to be a very low cut indeed. Good to see Seve Ballesteros out, and he posting a first round 71. So the new Ryder Cup captain, looking like he may yet be a playing star. Well, we join our coverage with Thijs Gromberg. He's playing with Ian Woosnam and Howard Clark, and Gromberg, well, if he wants to be playing over the weekend, really needs to get his act together. But unless he produces something quite miraculous down the last hole, I suspect he'll be heading off home. Playing partner Woosnam, of course, won the first 2 events. He was round in 69, Clark in 71. And if you move outside of this complex, that's what you see around here. It is just a desert, and this square oasis, really beautiful Garden of Eden, and in immaculate condition. They have made several changes to the course from last year as we look down towards the 18th and 9th greens and the clubhouse. But we have a look at Ballesteros. Seve, level par for his round today, needs to get moving if he also wants to be playing over the weekend. And lots of water around this course. Fine targets for the players. New type of grass, Poa Trivialis, put on the greens this week instead of the usual ryegrass to try and make the greens a little bit slicker, a little bit faster, a little bit more durable. And well, if the scoring's anything to go by, well, they've certainly succeeded there. Woosnam playing another fine shot. Somewhat of a resurgence in his form after taking up with Bill Ferguson, Colin Montgomery's coach. Really helped him to get back into a more natural swing playing. And with a couple of wins under his belt already, leads the Volvo rankings by a couple of £100,000. Clark pitching to the last on this par 5 hole. 547, the players just laying up in 2. Water sweeps around on the right-hand side, making the layup so important. Guildford on the 17th, 351 yards. One of the 23 Ryder Cup players assembled here this week. What a consistent performer he has been on the European Tour. 6 under, 68 yesterday, so 2 under par for his round so far today. And quite a blustery round of golf yesterday. The wind certainly picked up in the latter part of the day, but conditions here ideal. An enormous amount of rain fell on the Tuesday. In fact, 3 times the yearly annual rainfall in one day, can you believe? So if you ever feel like wanting to end a drought, just call in the PGA European Tour. They'll do it for you with no problems whatsoever. Thank goodness the skies have cleared and it looks set fair for the week. So at least the players able to play some golf in some sunshine, which is certainly going to be helpful for their form over the coming months. And this venue at the Emirates Golf Club, the first time the Tour has come back to an event which it played at last year. First 7 events on the European Tour, different venues, although some of the tournaments had been played before. So this one of the courses that the players know well. Woozy for a birdie on the 18th. Well, perhaps he saw something that we didn't. Going down the slope, really took most of the borrow out of that putt. And David Fairty playing with Seffi and Rocker. Good to see him back in Europe. David carding a 70 yesterday. Finishing, of course, very well back in the South African PGA Championship earlier this year in Southern Africa. Now, what can Seffi do? He needs some magic. Certainly wants to be no less than 2 under, one suspects, to play tomorrow. And how about that? Hold the chip earlier in his round today. And finished quite poorly yesterday for him. Had a couple of chances to save par down the last few holes. Didn't get it up and down with a chip and a putt on the last yesterday, so dropped a silly shot there and hit it away on the wastelands of sand that run alongside the fairways here. Gromberg, this is to get to 1 under. You never know. And the winner of the 1995 European Masters looks set to exit the Dubai Desert Classic. Now, Jay Townsend, what a great start to this tournament he's having. Well, umpire signalled a wide there for Jay. One of the good journeymen professionals on the European Tour. Now, Howard Clark, reverse overlap grip. It's to be in the clubhouse at 5 under. Oh, my word. My word. Well, you don't get a lot closer than that without it going in, so the 69 following the 71, and a couple of good opening rounds there. You can see out in 32, 3 under the par. Good front 9 for Howard Clark. Townsend to get to 10 under. And that's well holed. And often it's quite difficult to come out and play, having scored such a low round in the first day, but Townsend going along very nicely indeed. Gronberg really just with this clean-up putt on the last hole, just moving some maybe shingle or loose stones. Of course, not allowed to remove spike marks or tap them down, that's illegal. So 26-year-old player from Stockholm, round in 69, but alas a little bit too late for him. Excellent back nine there of 4 under. 30 on the 17th, little chip and run. And not one of his special little chips. Woosnam for a par on the last. And he remaining very consistent, Ian Woosnam, this year. 2 opening 69s here in Dubai. And great way to start. Look at the eagle there on the back nine, followed by a string of pars. Birdie to start with. And very, very consistent golf. Really fine player to watch, and one of the most natural swingers on the European Tour. And playing with Sevi, Costantino Rocca. Another man on the borderline of the cut, one suspects, of scoring so good. And, well, hard to know how many putts he missed of this range yesterday. Seemed to miss all of them. Oof, dear. And you can see the left wrist there breaking down at impact, and you've got to be really on top form to be able to putt like that. You watch Sevi's left wrist going through the impact there, staying very firm. He taps in for a birdie, and a very useful one for him indeed. So chance down the last for Sevi, maybe to birdie that, get to 3 under, and that one suspects would see him safely in. So slightly longer putt for a par than 30 would like. But no problems for the Ulsterman. He taps in for a par and remains at 5 under. So check on the leaderboard. Townsend remains at the top of the leaderboard at 10 under. Jimenez not started his round. Rejoin us in a few moments for more golf from Dubai, just after these. Day 2 of the Dubai Desert Classic. The weather is hot, the golf is hotter, and really some scintillating scores being played out on this Emirates golf course here on this 8th event on the PGA European Tour. Teeing off down the last hole, David Fearty. And looks to have overcome some of the injuries to his wrist, tennis elbow problems that he had at the start of the season when he wore all sort of bandages on his right arm. They appear to be missing, so one hopes he is now fully fit. As up ahead on the 18th, Guilford, preparing to play his 3rd shot. Anamala even with a full wedge, still a full finish. Always has the same length of swing, varies the pace a little. And let's have a look at this 18th hole. From the tee, play over the wastelands and sort of love grass down towards a fairly wide fairway, but you want to be down the left-hand side if you can to lay up, where you aim towards the clubhouse, the Bedouin tents there in the distance, and trying to leave yourself the right length shot to play a pitch just over the water. All measuring 547 yards, and a real genuine par 5. No chance today for the players to reach this green in 2. So accuracy, the order of the day off the tee to get it in position. And so good to see Ballesteros back with a new type of swing, certainly standing taller to the ball, certainly swinging more rounded, starting to get rid of the tilt which he had at the end of last year. And that's more like the free-flowing swing that we saw him start the 95 season with last year. He was, of course, coached by Mac O'Grady, and had a resurgence there when he won the Benton and Hedges title. But they fell out, and following that falling out, Sevi's form went down a little bit. But he was on the practice ground at the start of this week with Santiago Luna and Hospital. They were giving him some words of advice, but I don't think he really needs it. He certainly knows how to win. Man who's won 54 events in Europe. Just really needs to get the confidence back to be able to feel where the club head is throughout the goal swing. And I'm sure we'll see Sevi back to his winning ways in the not too distant future. Man with a putt down the last hole, David Guilford. We've seen a few putts from this angle before, so we know it's not going to move very much, but it is quick. Look to have set it off down the left-hand side, but then it went away left, and it's a fairly straight putt from there. One that's certainly fooled a number of the players. And one of the heroes of the Oak Hill Ryder Cup side last year taps in. Following his 68 with a 70 today. 30 from the right-hand semi-rough. Out with the iron, just laying it well back, and nothing much wrong with that. Of course, the players wanting to be back about 80 to 100 yards. They certainly like to be able to play a full shot, certainly when playing over water. Townsend on the 14th, 434 yards. And no sign of letting up. Well, that's the sort of move on the backswing we don't want to see Ballesteros make, almost taking it outside the line there. Certainly would like to see him take it back on the inside, but you can see there, spinal angle a little bit more upright, so trying to get the club around his body. And, well, we didn't see too much of a finish like that at Oak Hill last year. And Sevi laying it up quite close to the water's edge. A man with his touch, well, just a little flick with a sand iron. He doesn't mind how far he is away from the flag. He'll only be seeing it go in. Certainly hasn't lost his touch from that sort of range. And last to play, Rocker. Glorious long iron player, such a good striker of the ball. So effortless through the impact area, and really hits it like a tracer shell. Three-time winner last year, Chaker. Up ahead from Sevi. Tapping in on the last hole, and he's going to have a long afternoon's wait to find out whether that will be good enough to play tomorrow. Slightly disappointing round for him of 73, 1 over par. So, quick check on who's doing what. Jay Townsend still top at the leaderboard, but Jimenez not out on the course yet. Robert Willis with good score today. And so too, having a fine score after a 68 yesterday, Jamie Spence. Tony Johnson, well, had 3 top 10s already this year, Johnson. Looks like it's going to be a 4th. He continuing to play well at 7 under. So too is Volvo Rankings top player Ian Woosnam, 2 rounds of 69. Slimline, Colin Montgomery, what a great opening 67 he had yesterday. Hadn't played for 3 months, lost 28 pounds and going to lose a further 15, we hear. So you may not recognise him when he comes on the screen. Fearty's pitched to the last. And a little disappointing there. Could have done with a hop forward. Can't believe it. Used to playing golf in the States where he says it's target golf. He said in Europe it's target golf as well, except the target keeps moving. Always man for a quip as Rocker plays his pitch. Punching it forward. And drilling that to the back of the green, so outside, very much an outside chance for birdie on the last for Rocker. Now, Seve. When you play with this man and you watch him play these shots around the green, he's like a hunter stalking his prey. Really does delight in visualizing the ball going in. Beautiful shot. Same when he plays a bunker shot or a little chip around the green. Always looking for the positive, always looking to see it go in. And he leaving himself an uphill putt on this last hole to make a birdie for a round of 70. Townsend started his day with a birdie the 6, good front 9 of 35, faltered a little bit on the 11th, but birdie the par 5 13th, so keeping his momentum going. So the 34-year-old from Florida, having a great start. Son of a golf pro. Not one in Europe, he's won in Africa on the 89 South African Tournament of Champions. Well, if he keeps that form going this week, you never know. He might get this Dubai Desert Classic. That's what he thought about it. Thought it was never going to miss. He is known as a bit of a streaky putter. When he gets good on the greens, he can get very hot. Played for his country a couple of times as an amateur. Fearty, another little chip and run at the last. Quite a lofted iron. It's just a matter of how you see those shots. Sometimes it's easier to play that with a little chip and run, sometimes with a sand iron. Well, as Fearty taps in, we're getting news that we may have satellite problems. So we'll keep you informed of that as Fearty gets round in 69. 5 under par. We hope there's going to be no breaking coverage. But sounds like that we have a problem with the link. But Rocker. Putt down the last. Oh, and you can see how easy it is for the players to get forward. We saw Guilford start it down the left-hand side, Rocker started it down the right, neither of which is the right side, so pretty straight putt. Very subtle borrows here at the Emirates course. Certainly a man that wears his heart on his sleeve, Rocker, and if there's a putting doctor out there that can help him with the wand on the greens, and if you could get that man to putt, sure would be worth a few bob or two to you. As heaven only knows how much he would win if he had a good putting stroke. 5 times Rocker was second, once of course in the Open Championship. Can Seve birdie the last? This for a 4, this for a round of 70. What a question. No problem at all. Straight in the heart. And that a great finish for Seve Ballesteros. 2 birdies in the last 2 holes. And, well, without tempting fate, that should see him into play over the last 36 holes. Around in 3 under par. And that will do his confidence no end of good. Another couple of competitive rounds under his belt. Just what the doctor ordered. So Rocker, at the last for a par. So he taps in 70-71, ties Seve. And you never know, they might be paired again tomorrow. So Townsend wending his way, still leading this event, but Jimenez might have something to say about that when he starts his afternoon round. Otherwise, no real change on that leaderboard at all. So, as we come to the end of this morning's play, we're going to take a short break as we see the tee shot in the hole on the 7th. So, hot play here in Dubai in the Emirates. Rejoin us in a few moments for more golf from Dubai. Sorry for that slight delay in our coverage from this, the 8th event on the European Tour, but as I mentioned earlier on, we have a slight problem with our satellite link up with Dubai, and I'm afraid we're going to have to leave the live coverage and go and give you some highlights of yesterday's play. We will certainly resume that coverage as soon as possible. We're hoping it's not going to take longer than 30 minutes to get back live, but maybe sit back and relax and see some of the sparkling golf that took place yesterday. Certainly there are always problems, and this a very unfortunate one on a day which has seen some pretty good scoring, and it's good to see Seve Ballesteros maybe on his way to making the cut, and of course Jay Townsend on good form too at 10 under par. So we will now have to hand you over to some these highlights of yesterday, but we'll remember, be back hopefully by 1 o'clock UK time. We will be able to bring you live pictures. Until then, enjoy these highlights of yesterday's play. So Miguel Angel Jimenez, 9 under par in the clubhouse, and out on the course Paul Lorry from Scotland. Winner, of course, of the delayed Catalonian Open. And pretty good tee shot there for Paul. Playing with him, Jochen Hageman. Also going along quite nice at 4 under. And that a little bit wide away on the right-hand side. So he'll have a little bit of work to do to get down into to save his par. Well, we all know that man there, Ballesteros, just left his second shot. I left it out a little bit wide on the right-hand side, playing into this stiff left to right breeze. Really simple chip and putt, quite fast coming down the slope. And the man who's usually a master of shots like that, just being fooled by the pace of the greens. And having dropped a shot on the last, he's going to have that to save his par, to stop dropping 2 in a row. Back on the 7th, Paul Broadhurst. Such of the agricultural swings. And he also just leaking it away to that right-hand side. David Fearty also found the front edge of the green in 2. Just asking Costantino whether he wants the ball marked. Well, it's in his line, but the phlegmatic rocker, nothing really worries this man too much, likes to get on with it. No chance of him taking the putter, just in that light bit of fringe grass, a little bit fluffy, so with the 8-iron, just a little chip and run. Just nudging it forward on the front edge of the green, trying to let it release out. And it was on line, just needed a touch harder. Probably got it closer with that chip than he probably might have done with a putter. So Rocker will have that putt on the last to be round in 70, but a succession of missed putts today certainly not helped his course. And here's the man really been blistering along, Jay Townsend. Second shot to the 6, and that's found the bunker away on the right-hand side. There's a long, thin, narrow green. It's dogleg hole. The Seve tries to save par on the 9th. And, well, never really lacked the pace. Never really looked like it was on line either, so very disappointing finish there by Seve. Only thought he was going to finish well over the closing holes. Break 70, but you can see, having started on the back 9, finished on the front 9, so those 2 bogeys, 5-5 on 8 and 9, back in 35 for him. And for him, well, I'm sure, slightly disappointing 71. Vietti hasn't won in Europe since '92 when he won the Madrid Open. Played the last couple of seasons in the States. Not performed as well as he would like. But good to see him back. And that right in the heart to finish his round. So good early season starts for the Ulsterman. 34, 36, 70. And setting up a good week for him, one hopes. Hageman, long birdie putt on the 7th across the slope. You can see the wind here this afternoon freshening, getting stronger, hence the players not quite on tip-top form, up the back of the ball, letting the tee shot leak away to the right-hand side. Quite difficult for right-handers to play in the left to right wind, but it's a sure sign of good form that if you can hold the ball up into that sort of breeze, then you know your swing plane is on a pretty neutral line. Certainly helps to make golf a little bit easier. Well, everyone hold your breath. Rocket a save par. That one he managed to find the centre of the cup. So disappointing back nine for him. Those two drop shots in the last 4 holes and a round of 70 for Costantino. Broadhurst able to go to school a little bit on Hageman's putt here on 7. Realistically, he'll just be trying to roll it down somewhere close. Green's quite slick, but very true. Just going on maybe a foot or so further than he would like. Townsend. Seve was in this bunker earlier, got up and down in 2. Can Townsend do the same? Oh, I thought he was going to go one better. Well, a glorious shot there by Townsend. Letting it just pop out, and quite a lot of roll with that, so obviously the ball's sitting down a little bit in the sand, not able to get too much spin with it. As Laurie tries to make his birdie on 7. He won't mind that his first victory on the European Tour came after basically only 36 holes of golf. He knew going out in the last day that it was going to be the last round of the event, so certainly withstood the pressure pretty well. Paul McGinley, and that's also got off to a good start this year, second in the Heineken Classic to Ian Woosnam, going along very nicely at 6 under. Long putt here on 6. So a lot of birdies in this group. Make ahead of a 4-ball, better ball score. Broadhurst par putt on the 7th. Sorry, Hageman par putt. So sporting gesture there by Paul Broadhurst. Good 2 putts, and he knows it's a good 2 putt, as he has had a similar putt himself. And you can see he's got that 3-footer coming back, just repairing a pitch mark, obviously on his line towards the hole. Certainly can't repair spike marks, that would be illegal. And if you want to repair the pitch mark, of course, you've got to ask your opponent just to make sure that it is indeed a pitch and not a spike. One of the players on tour managed by Andrew Chandler, or Chubby as he's known, and I'm sure Chubby will be watching. Pleased with his man's early play this week. So all three players make a par here on the 7th. They move to the 8th, their 17th hole. And just to check on the leaderboard, Miguel Jimenez at 9 under par from Jay Townsend at 7 under. Rejoin us in a few moments for more golf from Dubai just after these. And welcome back to the second day's play of the Dubai Desert Classic. And I'm glad to tell you we are now back live. We've got our problem with the satellite links all sorted out, so able to bring you all this live action. A lot of hot golf, a lot of low scoring here at this Emirates golf course here on day 2. And a fine look at the clubhouse, built in the shape of Bedouin tents, and very cool it is indeed inside there. Marble and glass, and a nice place to relax in after a very hot day's play. And well, when you left us, it was Jay Townsend at the top of the leaderboard. That was of course because Jimenez hadn't started his day's play, but he's cracked on from where he left off yesterday. He's 4 under par for his round today. Townsend in the clubhouse at 71, and Miguel Angel Jimenez, well, just storming away from the field in this second event on the European Tour. 4 shots clear. And you can see what sort of low scoring it is. The cut predicted, as I mentioned earlier in the program. Well, at the moment it's at 2 under, but I'm sure you never know how things go on the late afternoon play. That may well change, and who knows, may get to 3 under. And Fabristano also going along, well, was going along very nicely. Shows you how slippery these greens are. You try to be positive, really rapid at the hole, certainly coming down the hill. He's got one almost as long coming back. You certainly don't want a 3-putt on the last from that sort of distance. So Fabrice taps in. Unfortunate drop shot on the last for him, but a good round of 69. 6 under, 2 steady rounds, or sub 70 rounds. Always good round this golf course. Irish hero Philip Walton. I'm sure he hasn't had to buy himself a pint of Guinness Hill Island since he was on that Ryder Cup winning side. Great victory in his last singles on that last day, and I'm sure he's not found it easy to come down after such a high. A man who's on a real high, Jimenez, 32-year-old from Malaga. Last won in Europe in the Dutch Open in '94. Only won 2 events, but amassed a small fortune in not a very long time on the tour. Just under £1.5 million in prize money. And not bad for a man that started his golfing career as a caddy, the Puerto de Hero golf course. And our first look today, Colin Montgomery. 3 under par for his round today. And as I mentioned yesterday, he hasn't played much since the World Championships of Golf in Jamaica last year. Decided to rest at home, lost 28 pounds, 4 inches round the waist. And that's enabled him to get the club a little bit further back at the top of the backswing. He says he's feeling fitter and stronger. He's done it to help his own self-esteem And it doesn't seem to have done him any harm whatsoever. Pretty hot out of the traps and trying to chase Woozy, who leads the Volvo rankings with just over £200,000 after 7 events. Defending champion, Freddie Couples. '69 yesterday for Couples. And 4 under for his round today. Certainly a man you can't leave out. And playing with also first time winner on the European Tour, Sven Struve. At 63, winning him the South African PGA Championship at Houghton. In the gloom, in the thunderstorm, the lightning all around, managed to hold on to his concentration. And a fine victory for him. Needs to make a birdie, one suspects, if he's going to play over the weekend. And that coming very close indeed. But, with these two playing partners, 7 and 8 under. In fact, that's a drop shot there for Struve. He must feel he's really probably scoring in the high 70s. Conditions today ideal, clear blue skies, a little bit of breeze, not quite so strong as yesterday, and obviously well suited for Jimenez. Here on the 16th, par 4, 392 yards. Holed so many putts yesterday. Every time we seemed to look at him, bolted it in the hole. Hit it so hard on the 6. I'm sure he made it a couple of inches bigger. Long putt here across and down the slope. Well, we saw him have a few yesterday like that, or having to work hard to save par from that sort of distance, and he's going to have to do it again. Let's have a look at this 16th hole. The players play over the wasteland of desert and the love grass, a hole which turns half right. No bunkers in play, but a fairly wide and generous fairway. Into a green, also no bunkers around it. A couple of tiers, of course, designed by the American Carl Litton. And a number of the greens around here have been changed over the last year, making very subtle changes to slope and contours, and a different type of grass, a Hoa trivialis instead of the ryegrass, making putting a little bit quicker and a little bit stronger. Teeing off on the 16th, Freddie Couples. Well, didn't hold back the power on that, and Couples let that drift away up the right-hand side, gone a little bit too far. Really could have done with just hugging the left-hand side a little bit more. And he should have a reasonable view of the flagstick, which is cut away on that left-hand side. Walton out with the broom handle putter. And it's not often you see two professionals in a group misread a putt quite so badly as Jimenez and Walton have done on that 16th green. Shows you how tricky they are. Monty. Doesn't seem too different, does it? Just pick it up. A little bit on the outside, drop it back on the ball, and pierce it down the fairway. Not too many players favour playing a left to right shot. Most tournament players hit it with a draw. If you go up ahead and see Romero after his good finish last week. Well, a good putt on 16. Back to the tee, Struve. And that's the sort of line that you want to be on, down the left-hand side. Montgomery, neither down the right or the left, he dead centre. Just Freddie Couples missing the fairway on the right. So, Jimenez, a chance to save par, but all of 8 or 10 feet, certainly up on the right-hand side. Haven't given him a big build-up. Won't let me down. This to stay at 13. Well, maybe 13 is unlucky for Jimenez. He drops a shot, moves back to 12 under par. And I'm sure he'll be really a little bit bemused that he left that one so short and offline. So Townsend now just 3 back from the Spanish player. Good score there by Willis. But Montgomery compiling another 5 round. Rejoin us in a few moments. More golf coming up in just a second. Welcome back with me, Warren Humphreys, to this, the second day of the Dubai Desert Classic. This the 16th hole. Just seen Jimenez drop one of his very few shots. Over these first 2 days' play, we're looking behind the green, down towards Freddie Couples, behind the palm tree. And Couples in a lie that shouldn't give him too much problems. 392 yards, just a short iron for him to this par 4. Got to be careful that he doesn't actually get a flyer from here. Certainly with a man that swings it as long, that's free-flowing as him, can get it a little bit steep, and when you do that, get a little bit of grass crap between the club face and the ball. Ball can slide out and carry an extra 10, 20, 30 yards sometimes. Often the players take one club more and try and hit it harder. Couples went to hit it softer. And in doing so, I'm just wondering whether he's dragged that away to the left-hand side. And that's moved down the Sony World Rankings to number 12. Struve, just a short iron. Good solid shot. That'll actually help Colin Montgomery, seeing the sort of flight of ball that Struve has given that, to give him an idea of how the wind will affect the ball. This man, always so positive when interviewed at the beginning of the week. You know, when he said, well, you're 225,000 pounds behind Woosnam. You know, does that worry you? And he said, well, just a couple of wins soon put that right. Always manages to finish his interviews on a very high note, very positive note. Even after some bad rounds last year, failed to see the negative points in it. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons why this man, who's now number 4 in the world, not won a major yet, but certainly knocking on the door. From Singapore, Samson Gimson. Players that did reasonably well out in Singapore, the first event, the Johnny Walker Classic. Not doing so well here. And with Stephen Richardson and Dean Robertson. And, well, those black numbers telling the story. 7 over for Gimson. As we take a look at the 17th hole. And if you do get it offline off this course, this wasteland is a real problem. We saw Seve on the 8th yesterday in a real appalling lie. This hole, another hole that doglegs slightly to the right. Green with no bunkers, but the undulations causing the problems to the players. But a tee shot, which, if you get it somewhere, avoiding that bunker down the right-hand side, just leaving a short iron to the green, playing under the par of 4, 3.81. So a hole that these players looking to birdie, a fairly sporty finish to this course. Good opportunities to make birdies over the closing holes, the last being a par 5. A hole where most of the players lay up away from the water on the right-hand side. So usually leaving an exciting finish to this event. Walton a little bit unhappy with things, leaving that shot a little bit short. It's Romero, El Gato, the cat, plays his second. Another player like 30, giving up on the US Tour. He played 12 events out there last year and missed the cut in 9, only won a paltry $25,000. Said he missed the friendship and the camaraderie of Europe. And, well, it's good to see him over here playing once again. Very likable person, as is this man. Jimenez, can he bounce back? This is his second shot to the 17th. Controlled swing there with the pitch, tends to drag his right foot through the impact area with the longer irons in the woods. Almost on the lines of the US Open champion Billy Casper in his heyday. Well, look at that. Freddie Couples told you he might have to watch out for the flyer, and that's exactly what's happened to him. He's gone through the green on 16 and long and left. Now trying to flop it out of the grass once again. Just goes to show you a hole without a bunker around the green can still prove problems to these top-line players. One thing you've got to do around this course is knock it on the fairway. Monty, putt across the slope, and obviously a tricky putt on the edge of the ridge that runs through the middle of this green. And, well, obviously the player's seeing something there that they think the ball is going to be very quick, and to see so many putts being left short and wide, this goes to show they must see, well, they must get the feeling that the ball's going to go away from them very quickly. Struve, if he can finish with a couple of birdies, still may have the chance to play over the closing 36 holes. But he will know from the scores last night what he's got to do. He'll also have a vague idea from the morning scores. He needs a couple of birdies. Can he make one here on 16? And never looked like it. But you get an idea there of how much the ground slopes from right to left. So Colin Montgomery going to be facing a very difficult putt when he comes to have his go. It'll be a fast downhill right to left, one that will require all of the big birdie Scotsman's touch. Jimenez, a little bit disappointed, I would have thought, to miss out on the Ryder Cup last year. He didn't play in the Czech Open, decided to miss it, then missed the cut the following week, and he went from 8th to 12th on the Ryder Cup points standing, and just missed out. I wonder how much he rues that decision now. And a second in the Mediterranean, third earlier in the year in the Aliaris Open, and of course third place behind Scott Sam Torrance in the Coventry British Masters. So always able to put good finishes together in Europe. Well, a slightly better putt from Miguel. Had the right pace, once again got the line right, and I suppose he'll be content to get in the clubhouse. If he can lead at 12 or 13 under, have a 3 or 4 shot lead, I'm sure he'll be delighted with that. Can Couples save par on the 16th? See how much this is down the slope. This is quick. And not the sort of putt you thought that Freddie Couples may hole. He has been known, well, it has been known that that's his weakness area. But a good, solid par-saving putt on 16. Romero. Birdie attempt. Pushed Peter Hedblom all the way to the tape last week in Morocco. 2 wonderful shots to the last, the par 5. Tried to give himself an eagle opportunity, couldn't quite make it. But he didn't think he'd be back in the thick of things of winning an event so quickly. But real talent, Eduardo Romero. Now, you don't get an impression with this putt how much it slopes. He'll be aiming this outside the right edge. Oh, well, he hit that inside and firm. What a positive putt that was. So Montgomery stays 4 behind Jimenez. Down in the clubhouse. Willis with that good score. And Couples good saving par putt on the 16th. Rejoin us in a few moments after the break. Welcome back to day 2 on the 17th tee. Colin Montgomery, Freddie Couples. Up ahead on the 18th. The man leading this event, Miguel Angel Jimenez. This the par 5, 547 yards. And Spanish player threading that down the middle, just going into the right semi. No real problems there for him, of course. It's not a hole that the players can reach into. He'll just be laying it up somewhere short of the water, pitching across and trying to make his birdie from there. Last week's winner on the 18th, Peter Hedblom. Amazing 36 holes of golf he played over the last 2 rounds to win in Morocco. Really held on despite not being on tip-top form. And maybe suffering a slight reaction. And, well, the 3rd player to score a hole-in-one we just saw there very briefly. But Hedblom won't be with us over the final 36 holes he round in level par. This the 18th, the dogleg par 5. Playing from the tee, we've just seen Jimenez hit it through the corner of the dogleg, gone through the fairway. This is the shot facing him, a fairly straightforward layup with a medium iron. Trying to leave it somewhere about 80 to 100 yards short of the green, depending on the sort of pitch he fancies across the water. And the pin today cuts on the front 3rd of the green. As El Gato drives off the last. And in pretty good position, cut the corner of the dogleg. This off tape, the tee shot of Philip Walton that we didn't see. And that also in good position down the left half of the fairway. View back from the 17th green out towards the middle of the fairway, and you can see Colin Montgomery slap bang in the middle, Struve also in the middle. No sign of Freddie Couples. I'll tell you about him later. His tee shot is nowhere near those two. He decided to have a go at the corner of the dogleg, cut it straight at the green. And he's not far away from the playing surface. Not quite sure what Colin Montgomery thought of his tee shot. I think it was something along the lines of gorilla. But Monty out with the pitching wedge. Hands very close to his body. A little bit slumped, I thought, but that right on line. And getting a little bit too much spin. After the torrential rain that this course had on the Tuesday, the greens really dried out amazingly quickly. Normally they pump something like 1 million gallons of water per day onto this course, 4.5 million litres of water to keep it green, to keep it lush, to keep it in tip-top condition. They could, of course, cut that ration down, I'm sure, after that early rain. Struve also comes up a little short. Well, Freddie Couples, I think, is going to walk 100 yards further forward to play his chip and run, so we'll come back to him. Jimenez, his second shot out of the light semi-rough. And that in good shape. Now there is Couples on the 17th. He's gone through the fairway. Now how close is he to the edge of this green? This hole measures 351 yards. He can only be 10 yards away from the edge of the green. So, well, okay, as they measure it, he's hit it 340 yards, but of course as the crow flies, it's slightly less than that because he's shaved off the corner of the dog leg. But an enormous carry to get it there. He's carried it over 300 yards, and anyone who can do that, well, amazing talent. Can he make use of it? Well, and that's just because it was in that little fringe grass like the last hole where he hit it through the green. Didn't quite know how it was going to come out. Romero on 18, his third. And left that a fairly long way back, obviously deciding to play. Oh, I thought that was his third shot. In fact, that's his second, of course. Laying it up, no wonder he was hitting a fairly long iron. All this excitement of low scores, getting slightly ahead of myself. That off tape. And now Jimenez out with the pitching wedge. The ring on the fairway there in white. Just a patch of ground under repair. And if a player's ball, of course, finishes anywhere within a white ring through the green, they can lift it away and drop without penalty. No such problems for Miguel. And slightly into the breeze and right to left, so certainly can be quite bold with this. Good crisp hit. Three-quarter pitch with a wedge. Lovely shot. Struve next to play. He needs this to go in. Oh, Walton. Oh, got something wrong about this last hole. One suspects it's too late for Philip Walton to be playing this week. Already over par. And Romero. .70 yesterday for Romero, and he's got that for a 69. So a chance to improve. Always good for your confidence if you can slightly improve each round as the tournament goes on, as you get to know the course a little bit better. The feel of the greens. A warm applause for Jimenez, Walton and Romero as they come onto the 18th green. Around the stands and hospitality units. And good scoring today for this man. And you start at 9 under, shoot such a low score. Sometimes you can have a slight reaction and come out the next day and think, why don't you birdie every hole? And when you start making a few pars, the pars feel like bogeys and you can lose a little bit of confidence, but no such worries for him. Monty for a birdie on 17. Yes, sir. He's got such a good putting stroke. He surely must win a major very shortly. Certainly that's his main goal. Of course, he'll also be trying to win the Volvo rankings for the 4th time. Tie Peter Oosterhuis's record. 4 successive wins. But of course, he says he's not so worried about that. It is the major he's after. That's what he's setting his sights on. The rest would be cream. What a change of fortunes will be if this man misses this putt. You think from tee to the green there was about 100 yards difference between Couples, T-Shot and Montgomery's. He knew he'd missed it, but I think that surprised him how much that came back. That'll probably feel like a drop shot. And in fact, that was off tape because you can see Colin replacing the ball. And we know he's made a birdie. So Couples remains at 7 under par. 5 behind Jimenez, who has this opportunity on the last to get to 13 under down the slope. Just on about right edge, I would think. Pace all important. Seen a number of putts once they start right, remain on the right-hand side. He's coming from a slightly different angle, going more across the slope, so it may borrow just a little bit more. Wrists held very high in an effort to keep them firm through the impact area. It's gorgeous. It's perfect. Just outside the right edge of the hole. A break of about a ball and a routine birdie for Miguel Angel Jimenez. A round of 68. And, well, a couple of drop shots on 8 and 9. We saw him drop the shot on 16, but host of birdies. What a good start he had coming out. Birdie, birdie, birdie. Must felt like he could walk on water. So Jimenez now 4 ahead of Jay Townsend, already in the clubhouse from his morning score. So just a par on the last for Romero. 2 rounds of 70. A fairly useful couple of days' work, but no great fireworks. Eagle on the 3rd hole to be out in 35. As Walton taps in. And he'll be slightly disappointed with his score of a level par today, 72, 2 over par. Certainly going to miss the cut comfortably. Montgomery on the 18th. Well, just rocked back a little bit on the right foot. Probably eased up on the tee shot a little bit. No real reason to let the cannon loose. And I'm not sure this man knows how to stop it. Beautiful, wide, lazy swing. Drops the club on the ball. Another fair old belter out there. Probably got to be careful not to hit it through the fairway into the water. Confirmation then in the clubhouse with a second round score of 68. Miguel Angel Jimenez at 13 under par. 4 clear now of Jay Townsend. Montgomery with that birdie on the 17th moves into a share of second place. We're going to take a short break. You join us in a few moments to see Montgomery and Couples play the last. The 18th hole of the Emirates Golf Course. This is the second round. And playing the last, Colin Montgomery, Freddie Couples, and Sven Struve. And just looking across the fairway to find out who's first to play, and it's the German. Who's up first? Sven. Just laying it down the fairway, trying to get into a good position to play his pitch to the last. And he didn't want to hit it there. That's exactly where you don't want to hit it, in the slight semi-rough. Very difficult to control the ball out of there, especially when the pin is cut so close to the front of the green and near to that water. Tough to get any spin on it. It looked like Colin Montgomery was out with the wood there, which is rather surprising. So he's trying to get very close to the water's edge, obviously trying to just leave himself a sand iron or a little lob wedge. If you're good around the greens from under 100 yards, sometimes you don't mind the type of shot that you have to play. Some players prefer to hit a full shot in, be able to hit positively through the impact area. Now, I've said all along that I don't think anyone can actually reach this green in two. But the way Freddie Couples has got the wood out and is loosening up, I got the feeling that he thinks he can pop it on this green. If he does, he'll be only player this week to have done it. And obviously used to attacking course, pin positions over water, the sort of play that he has in the States. Oh, he let go with the right hand. Has he made the contact he wants? Oh, and he hasn't, and he did give a go. And I wondered when that right hand came off the shaft whether that was the wise thing to do. And I bet now he wishes he'd laid it up. But like so many of the American players, they're just taught to be aggressive. He knew that was in range. He knew that if he hit a good solid shot, he could do it. So why not give it a go? If it comes off, you win. If it doesn't come off, well, you're down the pack. He'll have to regroup, recover from that, and give you an idea of what it's like playing this hole. This is the 18th tee shot. We saw Montgomery go away to the right-hand side, making the second shot a good deal longer. Couples, of course, hugged the left-hand side. Just found that little cutaway on the right-hand side, quite close to the water. The hole turning then sharp left. Most players laying it up. But Fred, ever exuberant, giving it a go, trying to carry over that water. Of course, he'd be aiming down that left-hand side, trying to move it a little bit left to right if he could have. But you can see the sort of carry that he had, 280, 290 yards to get it over the corner of the dogleg onto the fairway. Now he'll have to drop back, keeping the ball in line with the flag stick where it last crossed the margin of the hazard. Plays fourth. First to play will be Struve. He's coming out of the right-hand semi, and this is a particularly difficult shot. He'll have no real idea how the ball's going to come out of this lie. If he tries to get cute, if he tries to get clever, he'll also dump it in the water. If he tries to play safe, he'll pop it to the back of the green, but he needs birdies, remember. He needs eagles. And try and go at the hole if he can. Yeah, and it came out hot. And disappointing third shot for him. A man that put a good score together yesterday, Stephen Field. First look at him. Five under par today. Field round in 66. 6 under yesterday, so 1 over for his round today. Montgomery's pitch to the last. I'm sure he would have liked something a little bit better than that. I'm sure he was looking for something a little bit better. Certainly aired on the overcautious side. Mind you, always easy to say from the commentary box. Never hit a bad shot from up here. Always easy. Never miss a 3-footer. Never dump it in the water. Couples dropping, now playing 4. Of course, if he gets it up and down and manage to save par, will help him a little bit. Because anytime you dump it in the water like that, you tend to lose your concentration. So hard to keep aggressive. Keep in present time. You just want the round to finish. Well, that's a better shot from Freddie. And of course, the difference between that and the last 2 he's played, that one coming from the fairway, so much easier when you play from the short grass. And a little bit of a nervous prod there from Field as he tried to make his birdie. Man in uncharted territory, really. Now, Ignacio Garrido is not in a bunker. This is the wasteland that we were talking about, and if you do hit it in there, because it's not a bunker, you can ground your club. Of course, you don't always get a good lie. It looks to be a clean lie for Ignacio. Awkward stance. Anytime you've got a stance like that, difficult to clip it clean as he needs to. A little bit of body movement. Has he got a little bit too much sand? At the moment, 51st place, and those tying through to 70th is held by those players on a score of 2 under or better. So it looks like the cut will remain at 2 under. Very hard to see that being changed. So Struve losing a little bit of interest now. He knows he won't be playing for the weekend. He'll just want to get in, grab a quick beer, back to the hotel, pack the bags, and be off. No player likes to hang around having missed the cut. So much different for the players competing on Saturday and Sunday. Connor will be in. Quick drink. Maybe a small bite of something. He'll probably head out to the practice ground or onto the putting green. Just work on one or two things. And probably a good putt if he could just sneak one in here at the last, get to 10. Really keep in touch on Jimenez. Quite a difference, but it's tall order. And you can see double break. He set that off on the left-hand side. It tried to come back from the right to left at the end. So Montgomery having to settle for a par. I'm sure he'll be very pleased with his first 2 days out here. A round of 68 to go with that 67 yesterday. Just the one drop shot following 3 birdies in a row from the 3rd to the 6th. So real solid performance. When you consider that he's lacked competitive golf for 3 months, to come straight out and be in a tie for 2nd place in your first tournament, well, that is really something a little bit special. And not easy to see why Montgomery is number 4 in the world at the moment. So Struve finally gets it in the hole on the last. In 6. A 71, 1 under par, but really looking for birdies over those closing holes, not bogeys. And a man that doesn't want a birdie or bogey the last hole, Freddie Couples. This to keep 6 shots behind Jimenez. Well, what could it have been over the closing 3 holes? Could have birdied 17, could have birdied the last. In fact, he bogeyed it. So turned a 67 into a 69, and Freddie Couples has to settle for a 6 under par total. So 7 shots behind that man, Miguel Angel Jimenez. Way out in the lead at 13 under par, storming ahead of Jay Townsend. Good, solid performances from Montgomery. And Ian Woosnam down the field in 7th place with fellow Ryder Cup man at 6 under. So pretty hot scoring here in Dubai. So we're going to take another short break. Please join us in a few moments for more of the 2nd day's play from the Emirates Golf Club. You rejoin us for the 2nd day's play in Dubai. The sponsors, Dubal, one of the national companies here in the Emirates, aluminium company sponsoring this event. As we come to the final stages of our coverage from Dubai. And the galleries around this last hole really been given a treat today with some excellent golf, really low scoring, a whole plethora of golf stars assembled here this week. 23 Ryder Cup players, Freddie Couples from the States. And here is one of those Ryder Cup stars, Ulrik Johansson, who's on the last hole. And unfortunately for Johansson this week, as with other weeks so far this year, really not finding the form that got him into that Ryder Cup side. Quite a number of the Swedish players use these dark glasses to play in. It's like Johansson's got fashion glasses on there as opposed to the sports type that come right around the side of the eye, keep out the glare of the sun. And at least one putt drops for Johansson this week. Unfortunately not going to be enough for him. Good finish, 3-4, but round of 72 today. Made all the more difficult by his 6-5 start, double bogey. Now Stephen Field, can he get back to level par today for his round? Birdie attempt on this par 3 hole. 31-year-old from Barnsley. Only managed to get onto the European Tour thanks to a 10th place finish on the Challenge Tour, and he only got that by £100. So Field at least turning it to good order. Gordon Brand Jr. on the last, 69 yesterday. Trying to sneak it in. Another really aggressive player. Reminds me a lot of Bernard Gallagher, the way he plays iron shots. Only ever sees the flagstick. No matter what his form's like, aim and fire. No idea what it is to play safe. So a slightly disappointing round of 74 though for Gordon Brand, and well, it could be a very expensive putt for him on the last. Just get him outside of that 2 under he requires, I think, for him to play. Stephen McAllister tapping out in that last match of the day with Paul Way and Stephen Field. So we once again look down on that really beautiful clubhouse here at the Emirates course. And just a light breeze now at the end of the day. And confirmation at the top of the leaderboard. Miguel Angel Jimenez at 13 under par leads the second day of the Dubai Desert Classic at 13 under par from Jay Townsend and Colin Montgomery, who are 4 shots back at 9 under. Robert Willis, good score from him today, 67. Jamie Spence, 2 rounds of 68 at 8 under, and Tony Johnson, well, the ever-effervescent Ovies is there at 7 under par. Ian Woosnam just going along nicely, as you'd expect from the Volvo Rankings #1 player, he at 6 under par, with Ryder Cup player, teammate David Guilford. So pretty good scoring on day 1. We've seen Seve Ballesteros pitch in. They've got 3 holes in 1. Jimenez at 13 under par. Freddie Couples, disappointing 6 for him at the last to get to 6 under. Good to see David Fairty back. He in at 5 under, and looks like he may have cured his problems with the tennis elbow of the right elbow. He at 5 under par. So I'm afraid we come to the end of our coverage. We hope the little delay where we had satellite problem didn't spoil your enjoyment of this coverage from Dubai. Make sure you rejoin us tomorrow, same time from 12 till 2, when we're going to bring you the third day's play. Next up, the World Cup freestyle event. But from me, Warren Humphreys, here in Dubai, goodbye.
The PGA European Tour was brought to you by Volvo.